From above, Hong Kong can look spectacular, except this is not the Crown Colony. This is Shenzhen, just across the border in the People's Republic of China. The border fence was put there to separate two fiercely opposed ideologies, but these days the barbed wire hardly seems necessary anymore. A decade ago, Shenzhen was a jumble of farmers' houses ringed by paddy fields. Today, it's a bizarre offshoot in the world's last major communist state.
It's an economic bonanza because, you know, there are about 20,000 factories that were in Hong Kong 3 or 4 years ago are now located in the Pearl River Delta. You've got nearly 3 million people in the last 3 or 4 years that have suddenly been employed in those factories. You've got roads, bridges, the infrastructure that the Chinese government are building is beyond your wildest dreams that China could do this within the matter of months.
It is China's richest city, a city at the forefront of an economic revolution. Communism with a capitalist face. This is China's Wild West, and the gold rush has just begun.
The people in southern China have real money to spend. They know that capitalism works. They know that if they invest in a factory or they invest in a farm and they work hard, they get the fruits of their rewards. And that is very important to understand, that they do get the fruits of their rewards.
The real spending spree has hardly begun. The prices of these watches are in Hong Kong dollars, and so too are the lighters, any one of which equals the yearly wage of an average worker. But then the workers here are earning 5 times what they do elsewhere in the country. It's not difficult to get rich in Shenzhen. However, for political reasons, those with the real money are still hesitant to talk about just how well they're doing. Like this 31-year-old man who in just 2 years has gone from hotel employee to millionaire property speculator.
It has been reported that Shenzhen and Guangzhou and Zhuhai and some of these open cities and zones have maybe already several thousand millionaires. Well, these people are private entrepreneurs operating perfectly legally. They are paying taxes to the government, and they have their Mercedes, and also they travel abroad for vacation. And they have become pretty much the privileged class in China. Of course, they have aroused the jealousy from the party officials, non-resident citizens. But now people are looking for more opportunities to make money.
And make money is exactly what their paramount leader, Deng Xiaoping, urged them to do during his much publicized visit to Shenzhen in January. It was Mr. Deng who helped establish Shenzhen as a special economic zone more than a decade ago. Now he holds it up as a model for the rest of China. As the South dances to the capitalist tune, the leadership in Beijing is forced to turn a blind eye to it all. But the growing prosperity has brought its problems. Officially, prostitution is still one of the 7 evils, a crime punishable by up to 6 months in a re-education camp. Even the way they dress would have got them arrested a few years ago. Their favorite haunts are hotel lobbies and, of course, nightclubs, to which the police make regular visits. The girls are not difficult to find. Last month, the Public Security Bureau rounded up more than 7,000 prostitutes and their clients in raids across the province. It was the start of a new crackdown on crime.
Officially, they say there is no prostitution in Shenzhen, but I mean, wherever you go, especially in hotels, you can see it is apparent. But officially, the local authorities, I mean, say that this is not allowed, and they do check hotels and other establishments that they could be found, like karaoke clubs or massage parlors or hairdressers even. And if a prostitute is found, they are taken away to reform camps. So officially it doesn't exist, but in practice it does.
This week, though, the authorities in Shenzhen were more concerned with another problem, a problem which gave the leadership in Beijing its severest jolt since the Tiananmen Square massacre 3 years ago. The demand here, though, was not for democracy, but for the right to buy shares. Gripped by stock market fever, they descended on Shenzhen in their thousands. The authorities were completely unprepared and could only randomly lash out. Entire villages had journeyed to Shenzhen for a coveted commodity, share application forms. Forms that cost $25 with no guarantees, since a lottery will now decide who will be the successful applicants. It was capitalism at its most basic. Many people had queued for up to 2 days, only to have their dreams arbitrarily shattered.
For Chinese, it's too bad. We queued for whole last night and we can't buy it.
This man had travelled more than 2,000 miles only to be disappointed. Demand simply exceeded supply, and frustration quickly turned to anger. It was the worst civil disorder in China since June 1989, when the Chinese authorities resorted to the ultimate in crowd control technique. This time, tear gas and water cannon cleared the streets, but it was 4 days before calm returned to Shenzhen. The stock exchange, which was forced to suspend business for a day, is only one of 2 in China, and where they follow stock movements with the same avid interest as Wall Street. But after this week's chaos have come accusations of incompetence and even corruption against the officials ultimately responsible for its management. The attack came in Hong Kong on Friday in a timely address to Australian business executives who heard the vice mayor of another Chinese city describe the Shenzhen share exercise as a failure. Donald Hay, one of Australia's early business pioneers into southern China, says last week's pandemonium signifies a certain degree of progress in Chinese society.
Everybody I speak to in southern China are very aware of what stock markets are about and what profits you can earn from stock markets. They don't understand that shares go up in lifts, up at escalators and come down in lifts. They really don't understand the fundamentals. But no, I wasn't surprised about the crowd getting out of control. Heaven forbid, you have 1 million people in the streets and you don't have a huge police force in Shenzhen. So yes, I think that I was surprised there were so many people, but I think they brought it under control reasonably well.
Within the Beijing leadership, the current fight between hardliners and reformers is being waged over the economy. The real prize is power, and both camps will be eager to turn what has happened in Shenzhen this past week to their advantage.
It can even be argued that this episode will hasten the pace of development of the development of stock exchanges, because Deng Xiaoping and the reformers can argue that the scenes of chaos in Shenzhen show that ordinary citizens really have a huge desire to invest in stocks. And the only way to prevent this from degenerating into scenes of chaos is to give them more opportunities of buying stocks, so that they should hasten the pace of allowing more companies to be listed on stock exchanges.
While the political debate in the north goes on, the south continues to boom. The pace of development seems unstoppable. The rest of the world may be in recession, but here the economy grew by nearly 30% last year, and the forecast is for more of the same. Wherever you look, there's construction, and a rapidly changing skyline. It's a world apart from the rest of China, but the rest of China now wants in. Nowhere is Shenzhen's development watched more closely than across the border in Hong Kong. Under an agreement between London and Beijing, the territory reverts to Chinese control in less than 5 years. By then, though, the two cities could well be barely distinguishable.